Hey guys, and welcome to the Snatch Guide by JT Fitness. The first thing you're going to want to do when we're learning the barbell snatch is know where to place our hands. Okay, so the snatch is a wider grip exercise. So when grabbing the bar, we want the shoulders and arms relaxed, and the bar should sit in the crease of the hip or where your waistband is. From here, you should be able to comfortably pivot at the hips, and the bar should nicely fit in between the thigh. Now, if you grab too low, it's going to be top of the thigh, and when you bend over, it's going to stop in your legs. If you've gone too wide, it's going to be up towards your belly button, and again, when you bend over, the bar should drop out of the hip. Okay, so what we're looking for is a grip wide enough so it sits in the crease of our waistband. All right, guys, now we know where our hands need to go. Next thing we're going to look at is the finished position, so where the bar sits above our head. So we're going to take the grip we just established. We're then going to take the bar up and above our heads. What we're looking for here is that the elbows are locked, our armpits are hidden, so I have a slight internal rotation of the shoulder, and the bar is going to sit directly behind my head. This lines up with the middle of my foot, so in theory, from here, I should be able to hold the bar for a considerable amount of time as I'm doing something called bone stacking. So all my joints are locked out, and I'm just holding the bar overhead. With the feet together, from here, you'd be given the down signal if a successful lift. Okay, guys, so now we know where the bar is going to finish, where we need to hold the bar overhead. It's a very important position to make the rest of the lift successful. We're going to cover the overhead squat and a snatch balance series now. So the overhead squat is how you will catch the bar once you dive underneath it. So we need to be able to control those positions and get very strong in them. So first thing I'm going to get you guys to do is place the bar on your upper back or broomstick or whatever implement you're using. We're then going to press it up and overhead into that position we just spoke about. And then from here, we're going to perform an overhead squat. So I'll do it from a side-on angle. What we're looking for is that we keep the chest up, and that bar is going to remain just in line with the back of the head. We're going to try and squat as low as we can, and then obviously stand ourselves back up. Now, depending on your mobility or how strong your legs are, will depend kind of how low you go. Obviously, as always, we should be looking to go to a full range of motion. If you cannot do that, then I would recommend spending a lot of time doing the overhead squat until you can get all the way down. Now, once we've done a couple of the overhead squats, the next exercise we're going to look at is a heaving snatch balance. So a heaving snatch balance is now use of the legs. So we're going to use our legs and arms to elevate the bar and then drop very quickly into that overhead squat position. So it's going to look a little something like so. So we're going to take a deep breath into our chest, dip with the legs, remain flat-footed, jump, extend, and under. Once you've done there, bring the bar back down and repeat. So again, big chest up, dip, drive, punch, catch, and land. What we're looking to do here also is something to do with our feet, which I'll show you now. So from here, you should be able to see my feet. Now, with the snatch balance and the heaving snatch balance, what we're looking to do is we move our feet from a pull stance into our squat stance. So our pull stance being kind of where we typically deadlift from, and then our squat stance is obviously where we typically squat from. There should be a subtle difference between the two. So what we're going to do, guys, is on that dip, you're going to be in your pull stance. You're going to dip, jump, land out into your squat stance. So for me, that's slightly wider and toes slightly turned out. So when performing the snatch balance and heaving snatch balance, we want to see the exact same thing. Okay, guys, so now we've talked about the footwork. Let me show you the snatch balance. So we've got the heaving snatch balance, which is that dip and drive, and we now have the snatch balance where we take that dip and drive out. So what we're trying to do here is we're basically going to race gravity. So we're trying to get under the bar faster than it can drop, which is obviously sounds really cool, and it is quite cool. So what we're going to do, guys, to perform the exercise, we're going to take our feet in pull stance, as we mentioned. We're going to keep our chest nice and tall. We're going to push our hands ever so slightly into the barbell so we have some tension in our shoulders. And then we're going to race underneath it to straighten out the arms. So it'll look something like so. And up. And then one more time, feet in pull stance, pushing on the bar, speed under. Arms reach and down. Okay, this is going to be super handy for when we do the turnover, which we're about to talk about now. All right, guys, one of the first key positions that we need to learn now is our hang position. So this position is going to leave the bar just above the knee. What we're essentially going to do to find that position is, again, take the grip we discussed about earlier, stand nice and tall, shoulders and arms lazy. And you're going to see from a side view, what I want you to do is keep your spine in neutral. We're going to keep our feet in pull stance. We're going to soften up the knees, and then you're going to push your hips backwards or hinge at the hips until that bar gets on top of the kneecap. Now, We have tension in the hamstring, glutes, low back, but notice here how my shoulders are over the bar. So I'm not sat behind the bar, I am actually slightly over the top of the bar. This is important for snatch as it's going to make contact with the hip and we still need room to be able to extend, which we'll talk about now. So guys, once we've got that hang position dialed in, we're going to spend a bit of time there. The first exercise we're going to do is called a hang muscle snatch. So this is going to start using the arms. It's going to teach us about good pull mechanics. So we're going to go into our hang position. And then from there, in slow motion, what we're going to do is stand, push the knees ever so slightly forward. Now the bar's in contact of our hips. We're then going to extend with the knees, hips, and toes. So we're coming up onto our tiptoes. And we're also going to lift our shoulders up towards our earlobes. Now you will find this position quite hard to balance on, but don't worry, when we add speed, this should be a lot easier. So first thing we're going to do now is add some speed to that. So top of the knee, triple extension and shrug. Triple extension and shrug. Perfect. Once you've got that nailed, we're now going to look at the arms. Now the arms are basically going to act as a guide rope. We don't want that bar swinging forward. This is why we push the knees ever so slightly forward, then extend, as it mimics a upwards momentum, not a forwards momentum. What we're going to do is we're going to find the hips, shrug the arms up, and then we're actually going to lift the elbows high. Okay, so again, guiding the bar up the body, and then to finish off with, we're going to then turn over and punch. Now, one thing you'll notice is that my elbow moves around the barbell, so the barbell carries on in a straight line, rather than my barbell moving around my elbow. Should make sense once you see it, guys. So, we're going to go back into our hang position. Again, with some speed now. We're going to stand, shrug, pull, turn over. So if you watch the end of the bar cap, what you should see is a nice straight line, or a slightly S-shaped line. But what you shouldn't see is the bar get really flung out, okay? Now, if we add a bit more speed to that, you can see how it's much, much quicker, much more aggressive. And you can start to see now how we place that bar above our head. Hey guys, the next thing we're going to cover is one of my favorite beginner complexes. That is going to be a hang power snatch plus overhead squat. So looking at the two very key aspects to the snatch here, the pull and the catch. Okay, so let me take you through now the hang power snatch. Now it's very, very similar to the muscle snatch that we just did prior, but instead of the pull and punch, we're going to pull and squat under. So starting to bring back in the snatch balance now. So I'm going to get into that same hang position. Okay, from there, exactly the same as the muscle snatch, but instead of turning over and punching at the top here, what we're going to do is squat for a second time. So we're going to dip under it. Should make a bit more sense once you see it. So from top of the knee at full speed, pull and punch. So I'm pulling that bar upwards, punching the ceiling, squatting underneath it at the same time to allow my arm to straighten rather than make it a press. So again, one more. And catch. Now from there, if we've done it correctly, our feet will be in our squat stance, so we should be able to then add on the overhead squat. Now, of course, if your feet are not in the correct position, then please do adjust your feet so that they are in the correct position, and then perform your overhead squat. Like I said, the idea is to really dial in the pull separately and then the squat separately. And we'll start blending the two together to do a hang snatch, which looks like so. All right, guys, now we've practiced that complex a couple times. The next thing to look at is the hang snatch. So the difference between a hang power snatch and the hang snatch is essentially how low you catch the bar. So a power snatch is considered everything above 90 degrees, bending the knee. A snatch is considered anything below that range. So if I catch the bar here, that would still be power snatch. If I catch the bar down here, that would be classed as now a snatch. So what we're going to do now, just to mimic the Olympic style snatch more, is we're going to start getting deeper underneath the bar. Now, that's not to say you don't need to still pull that bar high. You're more than welcome to. But once we catch it, instead of stopping, we're actually going to ride it down to the very bottom. Now, you'll either ride it down or the weight landing on you will push you down. Either way, we want to be making sure now that we go into a full depth squat without that kind of separation. So the power snatch plus over squat, there's a separation between the two. Now we're going to take that away. So again, let me demo the exercise for you. So again, from the hang position, we're going to pull and we're going to get underneath that bar. So as you can see, I wasn't catching the bar at a super, super low position, but I was riding it on the way down. One more time. So that will be classed as a hang snatch. Now, the last thing to add on to all this is obviously with a Olympic style snatch, we're not going from the knee, we're actually going from the floor. So let me show you what that looks like. You join me down on the ground where the bar will start for an Olympic style snatch or any sort of variation snatch from floor. So first thing obviously we're going to look for is obviously the grip, as we've spoken about. Now, essentially the purpose of from the first pull, which is basically from the floor to the pull position or the hang position, is just to get into that in the most optimal way. So we don't want to be pulling from the hang and being all sort of wobbly and being out of position. We want to bring it up nice and steady to the top of the knee so that when we get to the top of the knee, we can produce as much power as we can. Now, think of it this way. First pull is like first gear in a race car. You don't want to floor it, you'll just end up wheel spinning. So you want to be very steady in first gear, and then from the hang or top of the knee is like second gear. From there, you can floor it and you'll get some speed up. So as we talked about, we're going to take the grip. We're going to place our feet in pull stance. Now, just like the hang position, we are going to sink ourselves nice and low. We want a flat back, shoulders over the top, and shins as vertical as we can. From here, we're just going to push the floor away with our quads. Keep chest up, shoulders over the bar to hang position. Now, like I said, this should look exactly what it looks like from earlier when we did all our work from hang. So again, one more time, the hang position, from floor to hang, from floor to hang. And it's as easy as that. So what I'd like you to do now, guys, is the power snatch, but you're going to go from the floor with a slight pause at the knee. So we're going to do that first pull to the knee, hang power snatch, plus overhead squat. So just extending out this complex. Once you're used to that, take away the pause at knee, go from floor power snatch plus overhead squat, and then finally merge it all together into a full snatch. Full competition style snatch. As we said, we're going everything that we spoke about. Bottom position, steady to the knee, up and over, and we are done. From here, guys, if you've got the plates and you've got the floor, and you are allowed to, of course, drop the bar. So thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully you found some of interest here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.